This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
I saw this video from ESPN 850, which if you're not local, that is the big ESPN radio affiliate of Cleveland, and Tony Grossi, Tony Rizzo, Aaron Goldhammer, they're all the big dogs when it comes to that affiliate specifically. And I saw this clip and I wanted to react to it because I think that there's something that Tony Grossi's getting wrong here, but I don't think it's like so wrong that I'm furious at it or something like that. I just want to play the clip and react to it.
Have their new contracts, okay? So
what is your read on their demeanors right now?
It's very odd in my opinion, because think about this. They both have their new contracts, okay? So and they're such partners, you know, why wouldn't they agree to, okay, this season's lost. We're going to try to win, but we're going to develop the team for let's get a jump start on next year.
Okay, so I want to talk about that part because he says that as if that's not what the Browns are doing, right? Obviously, the Browns are trying to win as many games as possible for the rest of the season because you want to win as many games as you possibly can. That's the whole reason you go out there to play football. But also, they're giving young guys an opportunity to step up and fill roles, right? They trade Amari Cooper to put Cedric Tillman in a position to play more. They make Quentin Jefferson inactive to give more opportunity to Michael Hall to play more. They just traded Zadarius Smith in an opportunity to get Isaiah McGuire more playing time. What else? Like, how are they not doing that? Like, how are they not getting young players involved in building towards next year while also trying to win right now? Like, I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. Like, did they have to trade Joe Bitonio to do that? I don't think that's about getting Zach Zinter playing time. I think that's just about respecting Joe Bitonio and how he wants to end his career, which is likely at the end of this season in retirement. And also with Zach Zinter, he's a rookie. And unlike other positions, he might not benefit from playing early in his career because with the offensive line, you want to make sure guys develop physically before they get out there and start playing. So there's really no benefit to playing Zach Zinter there. You've already committed to playing DeJuan Jones, another young guy, at left tackle for the rest of the season. Like, who aren't the Browns prioritizing that has showed promise that's young? Like, who's left out that conversation? So, like, the premise of this entire take, which is it's weird that the Browns are operating in a win now fashion when they should be playing younger guys to see what they have for next year, I think is false. Because clearly the Browns, while they're actively saying they want to win, they're also playing younger guys and giving them opportunities to step up. Like, DeJuan Jones isn't starting at left tackle for the rest of the season simply because that's the best thing to do to win now. In a lot of ways, DeJuan Jones' limitation as a run blocker kind of hurts you, right? Especially when run blocking is something you're struggling with. But DeJuan Jones is out there to get better, so you can see if he can be a real left tackle for you next season. Isaiah McGuire, while he's played really well, it might be an upgrade as a run defender from Zadarius Smith. It's not the pass rusher that Zadarius Smith was, but you give him more reps to let him get better. Now, Michael Hall, Quentin Jefferson, straight up, Michael Hall's better at everything that Quentin Jefferson ever did for this team. That's why Quentin Jefferson's cut. But these young guys, Cedric Tillman, right? He might not be as good as Amari Cooper in his prime might have been, but you still want to get an opportunity to see what he can do when he's given the ball and given the focus at wide receiver and given the starting opportunity and what he could develop into. These aren't win now decisions that the Browns are making like Tony Grossi is trying to frame it out to be. These are decisions that are clearly made for developing guys to be a much better team next season and the seasons beyond, while also trying to do what you can to win this season. So again, this entire premise that Tony Grossi has built this argument off of is a false premise. It only sounds good if you wholeheartedly and blindly trust what Tony Grossi is trying to present to you. But if you evaluate what the Browns are actually doing, then Tony Grossi's words start to not make a ton of sense.
You would think that they would be free to do that, right? Yeah, embarking on their second contract. But no, they keep talking about, we got to win, we got to win, we got to win. I think they're getting pressure from inside that there's a certain number they have to get to keep their jobs. That's the only thing I can conclude. They're under.
How is that the only thing you can conclude? It feels like that's the only thing that Tony wanted to conclude, was that if they don't get to a certain number of wins, that they could get fired. And I don't think that's a crazy idea to get to, right? Like, the Browns have been disappointing this year, and you do want to see progress from the offense for the rest of the season to make sure that the issues were isolated to, hey, Deshaun just didn't play well to start the year, right? If that's your big argument that you're going to go into the offseason with to get people to buy into next season, well, you got to prove that argument on the field. But that doesn't mean that you got to win out. Right. Again, the Browns are doing things that would suggest that they're trying to see what they have in the young players to be able to recalibrate and play next year. I don't know why Tony Grossi does not think that's happening. Again, we went through the numerous examples of young players on this team who have been recently given opportunities to succeed. Like, does he mean that means that you play DTR? I don't agree with that. Why would you have to play DTR at this point? I think we know what DTR is. I get the argument that he has not been able to play a bunch of games as the starter, but what we've seen from him in relief does not indicate to me that this dude's going to be a starter anytime soon, at least not this year. And if he can't play starting quality football, he's not going to be good for the development of DeJuan Jones. He's not going to be good for the development of Cedric Tillman. So again, why are we framing this as if the Browns are not doing the exact same thing you're suggesting they should be free to do? Like, he keeps saying they should be free to play these young players, but what young players are they not playing right now? Like, is he saying that the Browns should be free to tank? Is that what Tony Grossi is suggesting? Because if you're saying, like, at the beginning, yeah, you want to win, of course, but you want to get younger, okay, I get that. That's what the Browns are doing. But it seems like Tony's upset that they're not tanking right now. And you should never get the green light to tank from a functional organization. And if the Browns are trying to be a functional organization, they can't do that. The green light to tank is always a highway to hell. Every team that tanks ends up exactly where the Browns are. And then we keep deciding to go tank again. Like, it drives me crazy, right? Like, no dynasty in the NFL. The best teams in the NFL did not get there by tanking. But every time a team is 2-7, somebody suggests tanking and everybody goes with it, even if tanking is exactly how you got to the situation that you're at to start. Let's continue.
Pressure to win, even though they got those contract extensions. Both Kevin and Andrew, the last, over the last week, just gave off the vibe that they're lacking energy, lacking enthusiasm. They seem beaten down, and it's probably more than just the 2-7 record, because they should have the confidence that, well, we're here to rebuild this thing now, and let's start the rebuild in any way we can, right?
What the fuck is he actually talking about, man? You're 2-7. Well, they should come out for the press conference super like, yeah, man, we got this. That would piss off Tony Grossi, ironically enough, even more than he's already mad at this team. Like, could you imagine that if Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski got on the podium and were so unaware, lacking such unawareness, feeling so untouchable that they were talking on that podium as if winning wasn't important for this year? The fans want these guys to care about winning every week, because for a few weeks here at the beginning of the season, and when you look at what that did for the rest of the season, it felt like they cared more about being right about Deshaun Watson than doing what was best for the team to win. And you're asking them to repeat that same mistake. I just don't get that point by Tony. Like, what are the Browns supposed to do here to make you feel like the vibes are better? And again, you notice in his argument, it's just a lot of vibes-based stuff. It's not anything actually concrete here, because the concrete stuff runs counter of that narrative that he's trying to create. The narrative he wants to create is that the team is on high pressure and that they're not doing things that would be better for the future because they're afraid of not winning enough games and potentially getting fired. I think that's all projection by Tony Grossi. If you look at what this team is doing right now, they're putting young guys in position to play. That is a key decision to move forward onto next year while still not trying to stink as much as possible. Right? They're still trying to win games because you want to win games, because winning games is good. No matter how much people try to convince you that winning games is a bad thing, it's a good thing. You want to win games. Good teams get to be good teams because they win games, not because they win individual seasons and have an individually good year, but because they consistently, no matter what the situation is, no matter what their record is, try to win games. Tanking and blowing that all up to lose all the way would be a very short-term idea with short-term results and put you right back into this spot. So yes, is there pressure for the Browns to win? Sure. There should always be pressure on a football team to win. What Tony is advocating here is that the Browns are chaotic because there's pressure to win. My God, what an awful thing there is to have pressure to win. I don't care if they're 2-7. I don't care if they're 1-7. I don't care if they're 7-2. There should always be pressure on the football team to win, because that's what you want to do on Sundays, is win football games. That's what helps your young guys develop, is doing things to help your team win and then cementing those good habits because you won. Winning is not a bad thing. Or at least trying to win games is not a bad thing. But we're so deep, and I get it. The team's 2-7. I understand it. But we're so deep in the negativity cycle that we think literally anything this team tries to do, positive or negative, is bad for the team's future, is ultimate doom and gloom. And I just don't think that this is the example of the Browns and the coaches being on the hot seat. Like, could they be fired at the end of the season? Absolutely. You finish like 3 wins, you're not going to keep your job. That's going to be very hard to do. And obviously you want to win games because you don't want to finish that bad. Like, the Browns don't have a free pass to have the worst record in the NFL. No team should have a free pass to have the worst record. If Kansas City is like the only team that would have the free pass to stink next year, because they won like 2 championships, they might win 3. Once you win 3 championships, you can get 2 wins and not get fired. But the Browns have not done anything to suggest that you can win 2 games all season and not get fired. Like, let's be real about this. Is there pressure to win? Probably. I think Tony's right on that. I think there is some pressure internally to win, but I don't think that's pressure coming from Jimmy Haslam in order to keep their job. I think that's pressure from this team wanting to be competitive, wanting to win games, wanting to prove something internally. And pressure to win is a good thing. Not a bad thing. You should want there to be pressure to win. You should want a head coach and GM that doesn't think that they can get away with doing diddly do whatever, and winning and losing at their will and have no pressure to win at all just because they signed a new contract. You should have standards that you want enforced every year. And the fact that there's some pressure to win or pressure to enforce standards, I mean, that should be something that Kevin should want to do naturally. That should be something that Andrew Berry should want to do naturally. And yeah, if Jimmy Haslam wants standards enforced, that's good. Nobody should be happy and okay and fine and comfortable with the Browns having a 2-7 record. You're damn right there's some pressure to win. There should be. Like, look at any good organization. You think it's going to be okay if the Ravens went 2-7 next year? Like, everybody's going to feel super comfortable and no pressure to win? What about the Steelers if they go 2-7? You think everybody's going to feel super comfortable, feel like there's no pressure to win? No, obviously they're going to not be comfortable. Obviously there's going to be some pressure to win. Now, you don't make panic moves and trade for like 33-year-old players when you're 2-7 to try to win games right now, but that's not what the Browns are doing. What they're doing is just letting people know that there's a standard that they want to reach, and they have to try to reach that standard the same way that Baltimore or Pittsburgh will want to reach it. And this is not me saying that Kevin Stefanski is Mike Tomlin, that Andrew Berry is Eric DeCosta, or anything like that. It's just saying that having those standards and that pressure to win, again, not a bad thing. And that should come from internally, from the Browns as at the GM, at the head coach position, and it should come from ownership. Nobody should feel super safe at 2-7. So yeah, there's pressure, but that's not a bad thing. Which brings me to my biggest issue with Tony's take here. And the thing that I hate the most about this segment is what it is doing very subtly. But subtly. I don't know, somebody gonna correct me in the comment section. God bless you. But what I don't like about this segment is what it's trying to do subtly, which is suggest to you that for the rest of the season, if the Browns win games, it's actually not a good thing. That's them caving into the pressure from Jimmy Haslam to win now. Like he's acting as if the Browns traded for somebody during the deadline to get better, like the Jets did or something like that. The Browns did the opposite. They opened up space for third and second round picks to get some playing time to get better. And they're hoping that those guys can develop, and those guys developing makes them better at some key positions. Because say what you want about Amari Cooper, there was area to improve this year at wide receiver once it was obvious that Amari wasn't playing well. So if Cedric Tillman can continue playing at the rate that he is, that's going to be an upgrade. Isaiah McGuire, I think he's a better run defender than Za'Darius was. I said that earlier in the video. But if you can get him to where he's at as a pass rusher, then all of a sudden you're no longer playing musical chairs opposite of Myles Garrett, and you've upgraded and gotten younger at edge, so you would get better. DeJuan Jones, if he works out at left tackle, that makes you better. So the Browns are trying to get better, yes, but they're doing that with young players. So I don't love that effort is being ignored, or he's acting like to make his point that that's not happening. And two, framing winning for the rest of the season as a bad thing, as if the only right way for this team to go is tanking. I've watched the Browns for 25 years, or how many years they've been back? 25 years, yeah. And let me tell you something. I've seen them tank a lot. And all I've seen tanking do is put the Browns back in the same spot. Every time the Browns have a bad season, somebody gets on the microphone, somebody gets on the radio, and makes it seem like tanking is going to solve all your problems, but all tanking does is get you right back at the same spot, because tanking is temporary. You might have a successful season here or there, but it's temporary. If the Browns want to get real about not being the Browns anymore, if the Browns want to win games going forward, the Browns want to be a good organization getting forward, they have to get out this mindset of, oh, we lost a few games, let's tank. Because that shit's for losers. And you're just going to continue to be a loser if you keep tanking. It doesn't matter how you justify it, what players you use to justify the tanking. The fact is that the vast majority of teams that tank 5 years later end up being losers still. The teams that try to win, they got a better chance of breaking out of Loserville. And I'm tired of being in Loserville with this damn franchise. So I'm tired of seeing them make the same mistakes. And I'm tired of seeing the same people who have been on the radio waves for 20 years suggesting the same shit, suggest the same stuff that keeps this team in Loserville. I'm tired of it. If the Browns want to break out of Loserville, it's obvious. Win games. That's how you get out of it. Stop trying to be smarter than everybody else and tank to get to a specific draft position and think you're going to outsmart the league. It's never happened. Just win the games in front of you. You play New Orleans this week, beat New Orleans this week. Whoever you play the week after, beat them. If you win games, you get better. It's a simple game made complicated by very, very bored people. Winning helps you get better. And I hate that he's trying to frame winning as a negative. I hate that. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.